Hi, very good morning to you. It's Jim from maverickstar Observatory. Guys, because of the shocking and unprecedented recent activities with the magnetic North Pole, migration, halting, even to some degree retreating, 0.7 miles backwards, I'm total agreement with one of a close friend of mine, Robert. I think we should be looking at this a little bit more closer than just once a month. So we're going to look at the TriMac data again in 2 weeks' time and just see what's going on. And we'll keep zeroing in the more this strange activity takes place. So for now, the way things are, let's go back to the beginning. 1900s, magnetic pole starts to migrate over the northern hemisphere at a continuous straight line over a progressive period of time, roughly covering distance at a regular interval. But since the 1990s, slight acceleration. Since recent times, again probably on a 20% increase, moved a little bit quicker over the North Atlantic Ridge, and to the present time where we are, it has come to a grinding halt, almost took a slight reverse. So that's where we are right now. We'll give it a couple of weeks and then we'll pop out that SD card again and have a look. So unlike on the every 17th, because of recent activities showing more prominent action, we'll look at that data again in just 2 weeks' time from now. We should be interested in this. I know our daily lives revolve around many axes. We have to all earn money or acquire money to live in the monetary system, survive, put food on the table. That is primarily our objective. But you know what, this is big, because the last time the Earth completed a magnetic reversal was 780,000 years ago. None of us can comprehend that, because most of us, if not all of us, didn't have ancestors on this planet at that time. It was only 12,000 years ago that the Homo sapien species, ourselves, human beings, erupted on this Earth and became prevalent. Maybe once again, maybe there was times in our history that we have no evidence of at this point in time. There are some things that show that, like 17,000 years ago, human beings were creating things using the hardest minerals on our planet, like diorite and things like that. But we have very little evidence to support an existence going back even 100,000 years. And that shouldn't be uncommon, because it's in our planet's business to erode those things over time. A human body left out in the open and to all the elements would disappear, in a relatively short space of time compared with the last magnetic reversal. Why? One of the reasons I'm so interested in the magnetic reversals of our planet is because of the 500,000 years delay in the next one. Because on average, every 350,000 years, our Earth used to go through a completed magnetic reversal. And since 780,000 years ago, we've had many excursions of the magnetic North Pole, which has been failed reversals. So for me, you can understand when we arrive at a point in time where the magnetic reversal shuts down and doesn't migrate after performing a behaviour for 100 or so years. I find that very interesting. and therefore it takes me out my normal plane of life, just like you guys living out there. You know, putting food on your table is important this time that we're living at on the earth. And so, you know, that is what I suppose inspires me to continue in this investigation as to what is going on. And that's why we're taking out so much time to pursue, I suppose, a topic which most of us on this earth are completely oblivious to, because no one really can give or afford to dedicate their lives, like I have here at the observatory, to a specific anomaly which is a rare occurrence. And right now we arrive, I suppose, today in this research where within the last week we have discovered it has changed its natural behaviour. So, you know, I suppose we need to zoom in now on what that is. And we're still going over that data that we collected the last week, because it's very strange, because we've just seen the data that we collect, the numbers dropping down. We know what that means. What the numbers mean when they drop down is that things are slowing down with the distance that the migration happens over. And that is where we are right now. With regards to other things that are taking place, I said in the video the other day that, you know, this could be synchronicity. You know, our universe does throw things together at us, and we simply pacify them off as coincidence. But as a scientist, I know a lot of people are going to say, you know, you have to have facts. Well, you know, we've got the facts. You know, how come these events coincide with each other, even though they're not related? There must be some connection in between the two that we have not yet discovered. Because as human beings, we are always learning. And just because, you know, common events occur together, which don't necessarily seem related, it's just because we probably haven't understood the mechanisms that link them. Oh yeah, people talking about how, you know, eruptions with CMEs, coronal mass ejections on the sun, can trigger earthquakes on our Earth. And yet they've not concluded scientifically the evidence to support that. But yet when some events do occur, you know, we do get earthquakes on the Earth. So in continuing with, you know, the realms of things that are taking place, which more people should be interested in but are not because of the, you know, daily routines of each of us lives, we move over to the sun. I'm over here at Solar Ham, a dedicated ham radio YouTube, not YouTube channel, but a website that is interested in monitoring solar activity because of the effects on ham radios when, you know, weather from the sun interacts with them. So I said yesterday there was 9 sunspots on the solar disk. Today there are 10 active regions visible. Should we be concerned? Well, we're 2 years away from the next solar maximum, and, you know, we're starting to see an increase in activity, which is a good thing because it is in the nature of our sun to have sunspots on there, and when they're not, then that's abnormal. We have gone through a period of time of probably 30 years where we've seen a declining number in sunspots, but now they are, you know, relevant on there at this precise moment right now. Even saying that, there is only, you know, probably 18% chance of a serious X-class flare taking place right now. That arriving from, you know, the most prominent region at the moment that is active on the sun, which is, as you can see there, 3190. And with the solar flux slowly declining now, it doesn't look like we are about to peak and break records since 2003, solar cycle 23. We're in solar cycle 25 at the moment, and we're approaching ever more closely to the maximum, which is a good thing, because I talk about this a lot. We talk about grand solar minimum, and we're seeing a nice active disk at the moment, which is good, because that means we get an inflation of the heliosphere, which protects our solar system. And we need that at a time that we're going through at the moment, with a magnetic reversal taking place on our planet, reducing our primary protective field that looks after our Earth. When I talk about these things today, I don't know, for some reason I just keep wanting to go back to the point that a lot of us take these things for granted, and yet these are the very things that keep us alive on our planet. If we lost our magnetosphere today, life on Earth wouldn't exist. It'd look like Mars. Mars struggles on a daily basis to hold, its water on its surface, because it lost its magnetic field. And we know in its history it had one. It also had an atmosphere, and there was a lot more abundance water flowing on its surface, or its terraform, than there is today. And the reason why we know that is because we've seen the valleys that could have only been carved out on its surface by moving water. So the erosion wore into its surface these like veins that we see, and we know that they are typically of water erosion. So Mars lost its magnetosphere, and in turn lost its atmosphere and water. And we are going through a process where there has been a delay in a magnetic reversal, 500,000 years, 500,000 years, and we're here right now while it's taking place, which is very strange to be in a world where something so significant is happening, yet the majority of the world's inhabitants are caught up in other things. If we was all, I suppose, privileged not to have to be worrying about those daily, chores, going to work, coming home, feeding the kids, sending them off to school, this, that and the other, we probably would have the capacity to, spend more time on things like this, to actually look up into the skies and, investigate more about our home in this wilderness, in this universe. It's the case where that isn't common thought. 95% of the people on this earth right now are almost oblivious to the sun rising in the morning. They no longer pay any attention or ponder thoughts about looking at the moon on the evening. There are people, I understand, that do appreciate when they wake up in the morning, they look at that red sky and think, wow, this is a great place to live. But when you're trapped in the system and you've got no other opportunity but to concentrate on the things that are more important right now to you, you are not going to be thinking about the magnetic reversal. You're not going to be thinking about sunspots on the disk, and what their relevance is. It's just, the way things are for a lot of people. But for you guys right now, obviously, you had the time to take out and be with me whilst I'm talking about these things. And, after, you can ponder a little bit more, as opposed to, the environment in our universe where you live. Very special place. It's beautiful. You know, as a scientist, I love it. Thrive like crazy on it. You know, for me, this is everything. Just as much as it is for you, making sure your kids have got clothes, food, this, that and the other. For me, I absolutely thrive like crazy on this. This is my food. I love it. I love looking at all these things. And I really enjoy sharing them with you guys. Because look at what we've got here in our hands. I know I'm going to sound like a crazy guy, but look what we've got. A magnetic reversal taking place right now while we are on this planet today. Look at our Earth. It's like a spaceship that protects us as we whiz round the sun on our orbit in a small solar system contained from the nearest other solar system like ours by light years. It's amazing. You know, we are living on something right now 4.5 billion years old in a universe 13.8 billion years old. Those are big numbers, guys. And right now we're here on a planet that gives us life. It made us here and able to support ourselves. We got a lot of corruption on this planet. Don't get me wrong. You know, it's what we've created. We've created most of the problems on this planet. Because if we cried to God and said, "Well, we didn't get this, we didn't get that," He'd turn around to us and say, "Look, I left you in a wilderness where everything was there. I never let you down with anything you wanted. It's all there. It's just you can't work together to share it out equally so that you get it. All the resources are there. Do with them as you please." It's just terrible that our history is just war, bloodshed, killing. You know, if we'd invested the money in which we have invested in killing other human beings, you know, the war machines and the armies around the world, imagine if we'd have invested that in better lives for us all. That money would have been much more better spent. The resources would have been better appreciated. We would all be a lot happier people. But we've got to evolve still. You know, when they talk about Niangathon, man, you know, we're still very much there. We can become something else in the future. And, you know, we're moving in an ugly direction at the moment. I really feel that. You know, I do. Before we end this video, we're going to just have a look at a few of the anomalies that are taking place around the world. So let's do that. So we're on our dedicated web service for you guys, and there's lots of things you can look at here. We're going to have a look at first of all, you know, the live solar data for you. So currently there's a quiet geomagnetic field, normal solar X-rays, obviously 10 active sun regions on the disk. You know, this is updated, and I know some of these are very slow to come up, but you can see there's lots of information there on the live solar data for you. There's the current solar cycles. You can see how they've been dropping off over, you know, the last 30 years. Is it a coincidence that, you know, since the 90s we had low solar activity, but then we had magnetic migration over the northern hemisphere? Well, I don't know. There is no concise evidence to support that. It just seems like when everything else, I suppose, synchronicity, that we don't understand the mechanisms in between all these things that are taking place. But, you know, there you go. But we have got lots of data on the website for you, so you can keep an eye on solar activity. I want to go to earthquakes, actually. Not earthquakes, volcano map. That's what I wanted to show you. On average, we have around about 26 active erupting volcanoes on our planet. There they all are. And it hasn't changed for the 4 years that we've been monitoring it. And, there are people that are concerned about things like this. Our planet is acting up, the tectonic activities on the increase, magnitude and proportion and frequency. It's not the case. When you study these things, you see them as, the seconds finger on the clock ticking. And it's majority, it is all the same. And that's a good thing. But it's good to know that you can access information and keep an eye on things like this. Let's go and have a look at sea ice extent maps. So all this is on poleshiftnews.com. You want to see, what I tried to do is create a landing map for anyone that was interested in a particular topic of interest with the Earth anomalies that are taking place right now. So we're having a look at the sea ice extent map, and if you follow me, we can deduce from this that there has been, another 3 million square kilometers of ice added to our Arctic cluster right now over the last 10 years, breaking records for 10 years. Yet they're telling us that we're suffering with global warming, polar bears are going to starve, and kids won't know what snow looks like. Can you believe? People have been given the most prestigious awards, the Nobel Peace Prize, for getting things so wrong. That's where we are right now. And I'm not on my own. I'm not the only scientist in this world that is suffering right now from the lack of support, because we are in very, very short numbers. We start speaking out, we're going to get persecuted. They're going to come after us with witch hunting gangs of people and lock us away because we're not talking about things that can improve their bank accounts. That's the only reason. It's very sad. We've got a lot of stuff on the website. I just want to quickly show you just some of the things that we've got here for you. And for some reason I can't. Oh, okay. I know what's going on. I need to go up there and then click on that. Let's have a look at the Schumann resonance. Yeah, we even monitor that on the channel. Schumann resonance, if you didn't know, is just the amount of lightning strikes that are taking place on the Earth at a specific point in time. And on average there is 7.8 strikes of lightning which create this background resonance that we live in right now. You're probably not even aware of it. I know some people say that when the Schumann resonance increases that they feel different, and maybe they do. We don't know how sensitive some of us are to the electromagnetic frequencies that are taking place in the background, but it was important enough for NASA on the moon missions to put the Schumann frequency recording in the background constantly for the astronauts. Can you believe that? Can you believe that they actually thought of doing that? In the fear that if we didn't have that frequency, something might, occur with us. So impossible to escape this resonance that is taking place. And some people can hear it. No, I'm one of these people as well. If you're in silence and, I suppose you've got to compose yourself a little bit and you just listen, what you'll hear is that background static noise, you know, that like hissing noise. You can hear in both ears. It's always there. It's like if you wanted to visualize what I'm talking about, you know, the old-fashioned TVs that you had to tune in to get your next channel, but in between the tuning in, you got that black and white dotted screen, that interference. That's the background Schumann frequency right before your eyes. We don't get that on modern TVs now, which is a little bit... Actually, it's good that you can just go bing, bing, bing with your remote control and get your channels that you want without having to add that. But, you know, back in the old days when I was growing up, you know, 30, 40 years ago, you had to turn a dial on a TV to tune it into the next channel. There was only 3 of them at that point in time, but there you go. Okay, I am starting to talk off the topic, so I'm going to leave it here, guys. I'll just go back to home. So here we are, very extraordinarily at a time where big things are taking place on our earth. Things that ordinarily we should be paying more attention to, but because of our daily lives we can't afford that to ourselves, most of us. So my little promise to you guys is, if we can continue to keep being supported by just a few people, I will be here for you tomorrow and the next day and the next. That's my little promise. And I'll keep things going here. We've got some maintenance to do at the observatory, trust me, on a few things. I'll talk about that in another video, because this has gone on more than the time I should be taking from you. I just want to mention that, you know, I do appreciate the support we get from the patrons, from the people that chip in a few bucks on that link that a lot of people just walk past by. And wish you, you know, an amazing day. Let's say that, yeah, for you and your loved ones. Have an amazing day, because there's lots of things going on we take for granted in our world, and ordinarily we don't get the opportunity to spend time thinking about them. At least maybe when you come here, you give yourself that space and that bit of time to want to understand what else is going on. That's what, you know, I want to be here for you guys. Anyhow, so link down there in the description. Hope you really want to support us. Would be amazing if you suddenly, for some reason, felt compelled to help. There is the link. And, you know, the only thing to say is, you know, you have an amazing day, as always. Bye for now.